As already mentioned, my name is Gebhard Degenhart, and I'm Department Manager for UX and Industrial Design at Anton Paar. Honestly, I'm now really officially excited to get the chance to talk at this community event. It's amazing. Today I have my kids with me because my wife, unfortunately, she gets sick tomorrow. But at such a conference, it's no issue at all because they're currently playing an amazing game over there. So they're already addicted. And that's also kind of part of what I want to talk about today. So independent of whether it's a game or it's, in our case, pretty complex software for complex tasks to solve for different industries, it's more or less always the same. You kind of need to kind of get the customers and users as satisfied as possible so that they are always willing to do it. So there are some differences, but also a lot of similarities in between UX and design or user interface design for softwares like ours and games. So to my short introduction, so let's get started because it's a short time slot after hour. I studied information design at the University of Applied Sciences in Graz with the so-called major. It was new media and game design, as far as I remember. So it's 20 years ago now, but I think this was it. And I studied together with this guy, so maybe some of you know him as well. I think he will also have a talk today, 5:30. So unfortunately, I can't manage to participate because of this sick thing with my wife. But however, maybe I get the chance to drink a beer after this talk with him. Is he here? No. Philip? No. Beer. Okay, it's time for beer. So any questions? However, while I was studying, I even applied for a game design internship in the US because game design was not only a personal but also a professional interest of mine always. So I started pretty early to play games. I remember a lot of LAN parties I did. So this was this kind of, I don't know the average age, but yeah, this was other times definitely. I had a picture of this in the slides, but I decided to remove it. Because it was, I was young and you know this kind of parties. Whatever. I was unable to find out where I applied, honestly, because I tried to look it up. But this is the number of game agencies or game-related agencies in the US now. So it's not so easy to skim through a list of, I don't know, more than 1,000 possibilities. So sorry for that. As mentioned, they didn't hire me, and so I ended up studying philosophy in Graz for a while. So this is the typical path. So you're done, and let's give other things a try. But as usual, you suddenly run out of money, and then I started to work for an advertising agency in the inner city of Graz. So this was this classic graphic design, more or less, and I totally got lost. In terms of game and all this addiction or my plans to once be part of this pretty cool community. However, in 2011, a new opportunity came up because there was a job opening at a company that had long caught my interest, honestly. And this was Anton Paar. So now you know all those. And this also gave me the chance that I'm here today. Anton Paar, for those who probably do not know, and I'm pretty sure that many of you don't know Anton Paar, maybe some of you also are wondering why is this guy here today and where is this kind of connection in between high-precision measurement instruments and game industry. Maybe after this talk here, we will have more or less a better common understanding of this. So in short, Anton Paar is a measurement technology company which develops, produces, and sells high-precision scientific measuring instruments for various applications in industry and research all over the world. So Anton Paar is active in 110 countries worldwide currently, so it's pretty international as well. This is an overview because Anton Paar operates mainly in the B2B sector, and that's also the reason that most people don't really come into direct contact with our products or what we are doing. However, the easiest way to explain what Anton Paar instruments do is mapping them to their influence on everyday life. So this is something that everybody at Anton Paar shows this kind of walk through a day with Anton Paar, and there are several touch points where you kind of get in touch. We just had beer, so I only pick one of this out. There's in Austria no single beer that has not been in touch with an Anton Paar measuring sensor, for example. So because we have this within the lines, we have the sensors, and they are measuring the quality of the beer, actually. So beer is that good due to Anton Paar. Not only, but it's at least part of it. Coffee is another thing. So many things that are important in everyday life are kind of in touch with Anton Paar. So, and even though Anton Paar doesn't produce video games, I mentioned that, my first responsibility was in the so-called new media department. It was in 2011, where I was involved in creating e-learnings. And this was kind of an early adoption at this time, because it was not so usual that companies like us do things like this. So maybe my previous experience with gamification and gamification elements also led to this fact that we released some of those e-learnings, and our clients or potential clients, even students at the universities, they were pretty happy to have that to better or to make it easier to understand those kind of complex technological principles behind our measuring instruments. So I'm still talking only about the company, but there will be this UX and game design connection soon, hopefully. After that, I took responsibility for the corporate website, which was rather search engine optimization and search engine advertising was my focus there, because it was all about traffic generation. But in some way, UX and UI also became pretty important in that case. So this is also an important point, because I had this talk with this guy over there who created this kind of cool game. And yeah, it's also important to do some advertisement, and online is the business. And this was also pretty complex. But we soon realized that at a certain point, traffic is not the only measure that helps you to get more conversions. It's also an option to improve the conversion rates, for example. And this can be done by improved user experience or user interfaces at all. So it's, yeah, and then we said, okay, why not have a web shop as well? So this is not typical in the B2B industry, but however we did it, yeah. And then, back to game design now. So in 2016, Skills Lab was founded. This was founded by Anton Paar, so it's a kind of part of Anton Paar. And they are combining many elements that are important to me. So it's sports, it's performance data, and it's gamification again. I had the chance to try it out, and honestly, it feels a bit like kind of playing FIFA in real life. So it's really amazing. So if one of you guys is interested in that stuff, you should give it a try. So it's not only sports, it's more than that. It's a great experience. And satisfaction and enjoyment are key factors here, and it might have been my chance to reconnect with this kind of gamification and game design, because at Anton Paar it's easily possible to switch responsibilities. But it was not Skills Lab. I received another amazing opportunity within the company, and that's what I now do. It's taking over the lead for UX and industrial design in the R&D division. And this is really amazing because, again, this guy, he was the only one I was talking to because I just arrived, more or less. And he had this kind of prototype. And I told him, yeah, that's exactly what we do, actually, yeah, because I'm not only responsible for the software part, but also for the hardware part. And we're just working on a handheld device as well. So there are also handheld measuring devices. And we have a huge 3D print lab, and we printed out some prototypes, and we tested those different concepts. We included a Raspberry in there so that we have the chance to test the user interface within this kind of prototype and having all those cables hanging out and stuff. And so this is the way that, or this kind of opportunity that Anton Paar gives me now, that I'm part of R&D and not of boring marketing anymore. So R&D is pretty cool, actually. This video can give you a
Innovative measuring principles are constantly optimized, and intelligent user interfaces simplify workflows. Creating tools you can rely on that give you freedom and a clear perspective.
So that's a short outtake of it, but I only took out the parts that I'm kind of responsible for. So overall, the video is longer, but yeah, you can check it out at our website as well. Finally, in this role, I had to focus closely on key user experience principles, and now we are directly here in the topic. So it's only, how long do I have? 3 minutes, okay. Okay, so this was only the promotion part, that Anton Paar is pretty cool, and this was kind of the way of how I get where I'm currently are. What I actually wanted to talk about is those different principles that do not only match to product development, but also to game development. I can share the slides probably. Maybe you know some of them. So principle 1 is easy to learn. That's what we just realized because my kids were able to play a game within seconds, actually. And they managed that they never reached the frustration zone. Otherwise, they would be here and not there. This is it in short. Second slide. I wanted to talk about efficiency. So in this case, efficiency is probably more important for our customers than for your customers, because Jakob Nielsen, who is really well known in the field of user experience, he said the following.
A lot of these video games are kind of fighting oriented in various ways. And if you think about it, you would want to have the most efficient term of fighting would be like one big button that says kill all the enemies. You just press this button, boom, and they're all gone. That would be a very, very efficient user interface, right? And it would be a very boring game.
So I mentioned there are similarities, but still it's also a kind of a factor, but it's because it's still crucial in game development as well. To avoid inefficient handling of essentials, such as, I don't know, settings and stuff. So this still should be as efficient as possible so that the users can focus on the overall experience. Third, there was a short question because this guy, again, he told me that he was playing Zelda, and that was the reason why he decided to buy a Switch. Question to you all guys, do you know what the first video game was that offered the opportunity to save progress and continue later? I already gave a hint. It was Zelda, sorry, we do not have a lot of time. This was in 1986. Still, yeah, really important, not only in game design, but also in user interface design for measuring instruments. So we have as mentioned, pretty complex tasks. They can last pretty long, maybe overnight, and in case that it's not possible to automate those processes and tasks, it's really important that they, the next day, come back and can proceed where they left, because otherwise it would be a horrible experience. Fourth principle, low error rate. So we all know that in case, so it usually always happens. You always have kind of bugs and errors. You cannot test enough to avoid this fully. But this is a really worse example because you have no clue how to get out there. Honestly, again, with this game, we had such a situation, and my kids were actually lost. Yeah, but it's a demo, and it's still in progress, so that's okay. Most of all, and most important is the satisfaction. So this is really important for both disciplines again. But in this case, maybe more crucial in regards of game development. So yes, our users, they should be satisfied, they should reach their goals with our instruments, but yeah, actually they get paid for this stuff, and they need to use the instruments anyways. In case of games, it's different, so you want them to stick to your games because they are, at the end of the day, bringing you the money. There are other topics, so I mentioned the processes, they're pretty much the same, including testing and stuff, doing user research. So again, maybe next year I get another chance, and then I will go on from this point. There are also examples of typical UI principles, such as avoiding cognitive load. So in this case, you can see that the user is actually, this is overwhelming, so you cannot really, there's so much information, and you should definitely avoid this both in the game industry as well as in our products. There are things like avoidance of poor contrasts. In this game, you do not even see the character. Good, so there is always room for optimizations. Many more, yeah, we ran out of time, more or less. One last thing I wanted to share, because this is important for both industries as well.
This needs change makers. People who are prepared for challenges, who fail, learn, and succeed. People who are passionate and care about their work, their clients, and society. People who work together and think the unthinkable.
So that's Anton Paar. I wanted to rewind, but I'm really, so you're already looking. So I just wanted to keep you informed because, as mentioned, I did not manage to go there in the past, in the 2000s. But we also have subsidiaries in a lot of countries, as mentioned. And there's probably still this opportunity because this is in Florida. We also have a producing company there. Some of our developers are already working there, and maybe, yeah, let's see what future brings for me. Maybe I'm going to be there as well sometime. Thanks for your time, and sorry for hurrying through these presentations.
Thank you so much.